All right, ladies, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for being on. If you want to go ahead and put yourself on mute, you can go ahead and do that, but I'd love to see you. So if you want to turn off the stop video or whatever, that would be awesome because I like being able to see who I'm talking to. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about posting about coaching, but I'm actually going to really front load it on why you should post about coaching. Because you might be sitting in my position of where I was 3 years ago, and I was kind of like, well, why would I want to do that? My main purpose is I want to help people. So why would I post about coaching when I really want to help people more with the fitness aspect of everything? And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But what I'd like for you to do, while I'm kind of sharing a little bit about my story, if it pops into your mind, what are kind of some of your fears surrounding posting about coaching, I'd love for you to comment them in the chat. So if you click down below, you'll see that there's a little chat box. And so I'm going to go ahead and type in, what are some common fears you have about posting about coaching? Okay, because I think most of you guys have kind of gotten over that fear of posting about fitness and things like that. But maybe that next step into posting about coaching is still a little scary. So a little bit about my story. For the first 6 months of coaching, so from December until pretty much May of my first year of coaching, I was scared to death to talk to anyone about coaching and to post anything about inviting people to coach with me. And I think the big reason for that was I thought that I had to have all the answers. So I thought that I had to know everything. I had to already be the leader that I wanted to become. I had to have it all figured out so that I could mentor other coaches. And I really didn't realize the fact that you can mentor other coaches as you are learning. So you learn something and it's fresh in your mind and you get to share that with another coach that is kind of at that same stage as you're at. And so I was not very coachable at all. And you probably will hear me talk a lot about being coachable, making sure that you are listening to your mentor coach and taking those things that she says to heart and putting them in, because that was my number one flaw at the beginning. My coach would tell me, you should do this or you should try this. And I was just very apprehensive to try any of those things. And a lot of it had to do with doubts about myself, but also fears that I had of whether I could do it or not. But also remember that your mentor coach, even if they signed up just a month ahead of you, still has a month more experience and a month more of whatever it is. And so our team would never steer you in the wrong direction. And hopefully I can give you that bigger picture today of where you can take this business and what it means to kind of add to your team and grow your team. So a little bit about my first kind of getting started. It took me 6 months to hit what's called Emerald, which means you have 2 coaches. And that was mainly because I had all of these fears surrounding asking people to coach. That week, it's 6 months until I had my first coach. And then that week I hit Emerald because I was like, oh, this isn't so scary. I can ask other women if they're interested in the discount. And then about a month and a half later, I hit Diamond. And the crazy thing about that is I had one working coach whenever I hit Diamond. I had one coach. The rest were all discounts because I had girls month after month that I was adding, and they just kind of stuck around. They wanted to be in the groups. They liked their Shakeology. And so it kind of grew from there. But once I figured it out and kind of got over that initial hump, and I'll talk about that a lot because I feel like there's this you figure out adding challengers, you figure out how to get challengers results. And then it's you get to this stopping point that you have to get over. And that is growing your team. Okay. So I want to hit on a couple of things of why you would want to grow your team. And I'm going to go through some nitty gritty why, and then go into some more personal whys of why growing your team has been beneficial to me, for sure. I'm going to tell a lot of like personal experiences. And so right now I want you guys to kind of put your business hats on. And so one thing, whenever I was teaching, whenever I was getting started, I realized like, oh, hey, like there's this thing called getting your master's. And in order to move up on the pay scale, if you will, you had to get your master's. You had to continue education. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm always like thinking like, is it worth it? What am I going to get from doing this? And I loved school, so I was totally all about it because I'm a nerd and I love learning all the time. But like financially, I had to know that it was worth it. So I figured like if I taught for so many years, I would have my master's paid for. Well, with coaching, you kind of have to have that mindset of like, you have to know the system, I guess, if you will, to move forward with this business. And so some of you guys might be thinking right now, like, oh, I'm totally not, like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I'm still trying to figure out hitting Success Club. I'm still trying to figure out adding 2 to 3 people each month. But maybe put this in the back of your mind for later, maybe next month or 2 months down the road, because this is kind of the big picture of where you can take this business, I guess, if you will. So, and what that is like, so like getting your master's is growing your team, kind of in a way, if you are a teacher. And so I want to go through a couple of things. So the first thing about growing your team, a benefit of it is one, that you get free leads. So when you get 2 coaches, Beachbody literally like starts sending you like challengers, people that buy Shakeology or buy a fitness program or buy Beachbody on demand, or maybe they just buy Energize or something like that. And you don't receive commission off of that first order, but you do on every order after that. And so there might be, there's customers in my customer list, and I have no idea who they are, but they came from free leads from being an Emerald coach back when I hit Emerald. So that's one reason. The second reason is something called Team Cycle bonuses. And I don't know if you've heard of Team Cycle bonuses. It's something you get when you're an Emerald coach. I didn't understand it because I didn't see it necessarily. And I'm not going to get into like the details of it, but basically this is kind of that like long-term game plan. Okay. So you're not going to necessarily see your Team Cycle bonuses be large at the very beginning. So let's say you hit Emerald this Thursday, you're not going to get like a huge increase in your pay this Thursday. You probably won't even see it next Thursday or the Thursday after, or maybe even a month down the road. But I do want to like screen share my screen and show you guys kind of where it can go from here. And this is not something that I share with everybody. I'm going to try to figure out how to, like, I don't know, on YouTube not be able to allow everybody to see this. But I feel comfortable sharing this with you guys because I know I was not necessarily a numbers person, but I need to see those numbers. And I know we have lots of Emerald personalities on our team, and they need to see kind of the growth before they're willing to kind of put their teeth in the game. So I'm trying to make this bigger, but it's not letting me. There we go. Okay, so this is my Team Cycle bonuses over time. Patience is a major part of all of this. So you'll see the first kind of little section was 7 months into coaching. It was in July. My January one was just kind of funny because I didn't really have it. I was a diamond coach. And you'll see that my Team Cycle bonuses was $56 just that week. Okay, so with that compared to my commission, obviously my commission is still higher than my Team Cycle bonus. But then you get into 2 years down the road. This was in a January. This is a 1 week's paycheck. And you'll notice something flop. So my Team Cycle bonuses are now out earning my commission. So I don't know what I sold for $39. Maybe it was Shakeology, or I don't remember what it was exactly. But that was 1 week's commission. And that was the Team Cycle bonus, okay? Now let's jump forward another year. So remember I said a huge part of this is patience. It takes time to grow. It takes time to grow a team. Do you notice my Team Cycle bonus is $630 for 1 week? And my commission was $79. Now there's some factors in that. my commission was probably higher because I have a second business center also that I funnel through. Another advantage of growing your team. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of the down the road perspective of what is possible by growing a team of coaches that are wanting to work this business. Okay, my next thing I wanted to talk about is something called matching bonuses. And this might be overwhelming to you right now, but I just have to show you the potential. There's 7 ways that you can earn income with Beachbody. And so it's kind of crazy. I'm not going to spend too much more time. But this, oh, no, I don't want to save it or share it. I want to present. Okay, so whenever you have a team of leaders, so you have emeralds or diamonds on your team, you get what's called a matching bonus. So I had from this paycheck $60, and what it is.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Danelle.
That's fine. If you want to put yourself on mute, you can.
Okay, so, perfect. Thank you.
You'll see, like, these are all coaches on our team. I didn't white out the coaches, but I did white out their names. And this is what they made in team cycle bonuses. And then you would make 10% of that, which, you know, isn't a ton of money, but I like it because I like to see, like, my coaches are growing their teams also, and they're seeing the benefits of this. And so it's kind of a cool system in that I want those coaches that are underneath that box to be successful. I want them to flourish and things like that, but I'm always going to be mentoring them, whether I receive this or not, but it kind of is this funnel system. It's just really cool to start growing your own team. So a couple of the other reasons for growing your team is that you, like, they're yours. Like, you guys are mine. I am very protective of you all, and I believe in every single one of you guys. And it's really cool to, like, have that and to get to be the leader of that, because you get to create your culture and you get to create that unity within your team. Aside from that, like, I am helping my family and my future family, but I also am helping my coaches' families by, you know, growing this team also. Plus, if you're like me and you have that, like, Pearl personality, we helped over 800 people this year. There's no way I would have helped 800 women on my own this past year. In 2017, I figured up all the numbers. Over 800 lives were changed with some kind of a challenge pack, assuming they were in a challenge group. You all helped them at least for 21 days to learn some things about themselves and their health and fitness. There's no way I would have done that all on my own. But by growing a team, that ripple effect, we're able to help more. Okay, so with that, hopefully I convinced you a little bit of the benefits of growing a team. Oh, I forgot to talk about quarterly bonuses. So I'm going to hit on this real quick, and then we'll kind of go on from that. So this one's kind of small. We can talk about this, but when you do grow your team and you become a star diamond, they have each quarter a bonus. And so like, you'll see, like, the average 2-star, the different averages that they make each quarter are on there. So with that being said, I kind of want to go into how do you do this? So if you're like, man, that sounds good, that sounds convincing, like, I do want my own team, I do want to have this ripple effect within my family and in other people's lives. So I want you to, like, ask yourself, like, where would you be without coaching? So this was something that at Summit probably 2 years ago, yes, it was in Nashville. One of the speakers asked us, like, sit down for a minute and think about, what would your life be like without coaching? Where would you be? What would you be doing? What would you have in your life? What wouldn't you have in your life? And I remember sitting there and just, like, I just started crying, because I was kind of at this, like, tipping point in this business where I was ready for more, but I wasn't quite at that more yet. You know, I was still teaching, but it was very real of where this was heading and what it could be someday. And then, you know, I kept thinking, like, why would I want to keep that to myself? Like, why wouldn't I want to share that? That is selfish of me to share to keep this opportunity completely to myself. And so that's always in the back of my mind. Anytime a fear pops up or anytime I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to talk to that challenger about coaching, I'm afraid that they might say no. I always think like why wouldn't I share this opportunity with them? So keep that in the back of your mind and maybe like take some time and answer that question of like, where would you be? Like, what would you, your physical body, your mental, like where, like what would you be doing right now if you weren't coaching, if you weren't on this call, those types of things. Okay, so with that, let's kind of talk about at least what I do to help me with posting about coaching. So this would be kind of the notes section of where you might want to write down some things to really help you clear up on what you can actually post about. So these are the 5 questions that kind of anchor, and I'm going to kind of dig into each of these a little further with you guys, but these are the 5 questions that really anchor my posting about coaching. So the number 1 is, why did you decide to become a coach? Like, what made you commit in the first place? Number 2, what has coaching done for you? We'll dig into these a little bit more. Number 3, what do you see coaching doing for your future? This is probably the scariest one, but the most beneficial thing for you to post about is what coaching is going to do for your future. Number 4, I think this is the one that's easiest for us to post about. What are your favorite parts of coaching? And number 5, what made you nervous about coaching before you got started? So let's dig into that. I don't think if you just focus on these 5 questions, and let's say if you wanted to post Monday through Friday or Sunday through Thursday, at least one of your posts or one of your Instagram stories was addressing one of these questions, you would never run out of ideas of what to post about. So that excuse of, I want to post about coaching, but I don't know what to say, that never happens if you always have these 5 questions. And I'll share this graphic with you, these questions, if you want to put them on your phone, print it off, put it somewhere where you work. Okay, so the first one, why'd you decide to become a coach? So think about like what was missing from your life at that time. And I know that seems like, oh, I don't want to think of something that was missing. But for me, there was something missing. I was missing a community of women. I was missing other people who were excited about what they did in their job, because unfortunately I worked with teachers who weren't very excited to teach, and I needed people who were energized and excited about what they were doing. I was missing a little side income also. What originally were you looking for? What did you want to achieve? So it might even be you decided to coach because you wanted more accountability with your own fitness goals. Like, it doesn't have to be you coached so that you could coach. It might be that it was a personal thing also. Okay. But then on the flip side, that might change. So why did you decide to become a coach might change to, why do you coach now? What are you looking for right now in the business? And that is going to change probably each quarter, each year you coach. What you're looking for is going to be a little bit different. And then what do you want to achieve now? Okay, so all of those questions can be things that you literally write out and just list off things. And each of those things you list off is a post idea or an Instagram story idea. If you want to incorporate, if you're serious about wanting to attract coaches that want to work the business, answer these questions and incorporate them into your posting. Okay, number 2, what has coaching done for you? So what has it done for your health and fitness? What has it done for your confidence level? What has it done with relationships? Hopefully you've met someone on our team that you have a relationship now with. And maybe it's just your mentor coach, but maybe you have a relationship with them now that you didn't have with them before you started coaching. Has it changed your marriage relationship at all? Has it changed you and your children's relationship? Okay, have you developed any leadership qualities? That is a huge thing for me that coaching has done, is I have kind of been forced into a leadership position that I wasn't necessarily wanting to be in, but I absolutely love being in it now. Spiritually, are you depending on God more because you're getting outside of your comfort zone and you're having to face your fears? Mentally, financially, what has coaching done for you? And do not overlook the little bitty financial things. Think about, like, and I made a post the other day and I talked about my first month, I made $100. And I said, for me, that was 2 weeks of groceries. And that was a huge part, a huge burden that was lifted off my shoulders that I got to, you know, like, coaching paid for half of my months of groceries. And that's a huge thing for someone who's single, living on their own and on a teacher salary while they're getting their master's. That's a big deal. It was a big deal to me at the time. Okay, so here's the one that's maybe the hardest, but the most powerful to share. I did not share about this until this past year. So what do you see coaching doing for your future? This is so much easier when you have something like I have here, this picture on the left, and it is my vision board. I have around the outside corners, I have like kind of like down the road, like 5 to 10 year plan kind of vision. And then in the middle, I have this year's vision for what I want to achieve and what I want to happen. And so, think about, like, what is your vision for your family? So in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see this beautiful house. It's got lots of white, lots of windows, very bright. We got 2 little kids playing outside. It's very cheery. It's very, you know, clean and crisp. So that is what I have a vision for my family, a very simple life where, you know, I do have time to hang out with kids and I have time to take care of the house. And that is my dream for my family. What is your vision for you personally? Like, do you want to become more of a leader? Do you want to develop into a more confident woman? Do you want, like, what do you want? Who do you want to become? I guess is what I'm trying to say. What's your vision for your team? So even if you only have one person on your team, even if you don't have anybody on your team, like, what does that team look like? What qualities do they have? What do they want out of this? So start thinking about, like, who are the people that would be really fun to work with? Because I will be 100% real with you guys. There are times that I'll talk to people who are interested in coaching and I will sway them to not coach because I don't think they're a good fit for our team. Either they are very negative or they've got so many excuses and fears that they just are not willing to get over. And I'll ask the hard questions because I know the vision I have for our team and I know the quality of women that I want on our team. And I don't want something to disrupt that. Like, I don't want people to bring in negativity to our team either. What's your vision for your day-to-day life? I talked about this a little bit. You know, it's very simple, relaxed. The vision for what you can do that you can't do now. So I would love to be able to travel more than we're able to travel now. I would love to, I've got a little fit body on there for sure. I would love to buy my husband a new truck. He has this little bitty car that he drives around and it is getting really high up there in miles. And I would love for my teaching income or my coaching income to buy a new truck for him. That would just be the coolest gift, I feel like. And then I always have lots of quotes around there to kind of help me center, like, what is the purpose and what I'm all doing here. Okay, my last one is probably maybe the most important one that I need you guys to post about, and you can start posting about it now. Oh, wait. Oh, no, hold on. We're on number 4. I skipped ahead already. So what are your favorite parts of coaching? So is it your own fitness accountability? And it can be more than one of these things. Is it the fact that you get to run challenge groups or you get to be a part of a challenge group? Is it the personal growth or the emphasis on personal development and reading books? Is it being a leader? Even if you're a leader of 2 people that are just, you know, that are your challengers, you're still a leader of them. Is it being able to talk to other women? I noticed I watched Trisha's Instagram stories today and she was talking about feeling so full because she got to talk to one of the challengers and then talk to a couple of girls who were interested in joining her challenge group. So she was talking about her favorite part of coaching is being able to talk to other women because let's be real, she's surrounded by boys all day long with her 2 boys and her husband. Maybe it's the fact that you love that you now set goals and you work towards goals. That was never something I really did too often before coaching. Maybe it's being around other positive people. Maybe it's doing something that matters to you, that you have a bigger purpose. Possibly it's financial benefits. For me, I love when women get those aha moments. So whenever it's either like they, as a coach, mentoring another coach, I love when they have aha moments of like, maybe this is really who their niche is, or they came up with a really great post idea and they share it with me. Or challengers, whenever they, come to a revelation with like their relationship with food or something like that. But I love those like light bulb moments so much. I like thrive off of those and the positive messages. Okay, last one. Let me get a little drink. So here's something that you may overlook, but people need to know that you're real and you are not this like robot that everything is always perfect. So like, what made you nervous about coaching, or what objections did you have or do you get today from women? So maybe you were there's no way I have enough time to coach. Other people might think negatively about me. Maybe this is a scheme, like I'm not actually going to be successful. Only the people, above me will be successful, and I'm going to just pay a bunch of money and never see any success at all. Maybe you had a fear of failure. Or if you notice that you're getting some objections from women. So mine is always the second one, what other people will think of them. They have a fear of posting on social media or whatever it might be. And so those are always things that I try to hit on whenever I am making posts, is like, what is it that these people are coming to me and having fears about? Because I need to post about that and say that's very common. I had those fears also, but then also kind of combat them at the same time and let them know that like those are not legitimate fears, that those are things that are either, made up in your head, or possibly, here's how I handled that or got over it or something like that. So that is kind of all I have for tonight for you guys. I know I rattled off a bunch of things to think about, a lot of questions. So if you have questions, I would love to answer them. If you do not have questions, I have a little homework assignment for you guys at the end that I would like to give you. Samantha's excited. She's like, give me homework. I'll do it. I saw that smile. That's so funny. So if you have questions, you're welcome to take yourself off mute. I noticed nobody posted like their fears around coaching. So that's awesome. Nobody has any fears to post about coaching. So we'll all be posting nonstop.
Oh, you're funny.
Okay, any questions? Okay, so obviously it's probably pretty obvious of what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I'd like for you to take, and I'll post that graphic in the group, but I'd like for you to take one of those 5 questions, kind of the big overview question of like, what were some things you were nervous about? Where do you see this going? What's your favorite part? And I'd like for you to post a post, or let's make it a post. Let's not make it a story. Let's make it a post. And I'd like for you to post your answer to that, or just share a little bit of your coaching story. And I'd like for it to be done before Thursday night. So you have tonight, you have all day tomorrow, you have all day Thursday. Let's do it before Friday. Okay, so let's do it before Friday. Make a post about coaching, about, it could be as easy as your favorite part of coaching. What's one thing you love about what you get to do? And then what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to tag me in it so that I can see it. So if you do it on Facebook, you can tag my name in the comments. If you do it on Instagram, you can tag me like the @MegMoves on the comments if you want to do that. Paige, you have a question? Can you not take yourself off mute? Oh, okay, go for it.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My biggest thing is always the image, and I know that's silly, but everything else as far as like the picture that goes with it is always so easy for me. But when I start thinking about posting about coaching, I don't know what image to use. The only thing I can ever think of is like with my computer, but that gets old.
Yeah. That's a good question. So I'm not real picky about my picture. It is usually a picture of me working. It might be that I am working at Panera or at a coffee shop around here, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe I'm in my office. Maybe I am, think about like, where are the places where you work? Because I think people love to see us in our element doing it. Or sometimes if it's a little bit of a deeper post, I will do like just a pretty picture. So I'll find a picture, like a more professional looking picture that's less athletic-y, if that makes sense. So I'll choose something, like when we went to Summit, we went and took like 1 million pictures because it was beautiful in New Orleans. So we were like, let's take a bunch of pictures, we're dressed up, we might as well. And so those, you probably will see me using those often. So think about those. You are going to our leadership retreat, and so there will be lots of pictures. So anytime you talk about our team, you'll have some pictures to share with that. Anytime if you guys go to a Super Saturday, you can get pictures with other coaches. I always feel like anytime you can show like, hey, I'm not completely alone in this, that's a good thing too. But let's be real, we don't see each other all the time. But like, for example, right now, snapping a picture of us talking and all of your all's faces is a good way to show, like something that you do. That's also a good one. I didn't put that in there, but like a behind the scenes, like people legit want to know the behind the scenes. I had one girl like we're kind of mutual friends of friends. And she literally like was like, how do you take your pictures? So like I did an Instagram stories one day showing like my little, tripod and then my like bright lights and like was just like, here's the behind the scenes of how I make all of this happen. And it was just, people want to know, I don't know, the stuff that not everybody sees. So not sure if that helps. I think you're just overthinking it, Paige.
It does help for sure.
Okay, good. Okay, any other questions? Awesome. Okay. As always, if you are struggling with what to post about with your homework assignment, and I'm going to like right now, I am going to screenshot this so I have an image of who's all on this call. I'm holding you all accountable. I'm putting you in my grade book. But anyways, I would love to work through, like if you're like, I think I want to make a post about what made me nervous about coaching. This is what made me nervous. How do I turn this into a post? Like, send me a message. I would love to, like, mentoring you guys is my favorite thing to do about this business. So if you need ideas to bounce back and forth, if you're like, here's my topic, I'm not so sure how to write this into a post, I would love to work through that with you for sure. All right. There's nothing else. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. I will post the recording to this tomorrow. Otherwise, tonight I'm going to post your all's homework assignment. So you're welcome to get started on thinking about that, just brainstorming some ideas. So I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it.